Action fanatics, welcome to another edition of the Bulletproof podcast. I'm your host, Chris the Brain. Joining me once again, it is the Toyman, Chris DePetrillo.
Just call me 3T tonight because it is the Toxic Toyman from Tromaville.
You're toxic, all right. And also back with us once again, it is Ryan Campbell.
Tonight we answer the age-old question of, can you get a contact high from a movie?
Oh, well, we'll find out when we watch or when we start talking. We've already watched it, folks. We're going to start talking about it. But before we talk about the Toxic Avenger, the original Toxic Avenger, I want to remind everybody of something big going down next week on bulletproofaction.com. It is Duty Palooza. And we will be celebrating Michael Dudikoff's birthday all week long, including a very special Michael Dudikoff from A to Z. We're going to have reviews of Fugitive Mind. And Toyman, I know you're going to be reviewing Musketeers Forever.
Yes, you did send that request my way, and when you call, I answer. So expect that review coming up next week as part of the festivities.
Of course, with Lee Majors, one of your all-time favorites. So it seemed perfect. It seemed like the perfect Michael Dudikoff movie for you to review. We will also have a special look at Michael Dudikoff's short-lived series Cobra from our friend Andrew Babcock. So it is going to be a big one. And, you know, the Bulletproof podcast is going to be involved as well because we will be reviewing Virtual Assassin, or maybe you know it as Cyberjack. And gentlemen, we will be joined by the direct-to-video connoisseur himself. Matt Pereira is going to join us for the very first time. He's had me on his show number of times.
The favor.
And it's time to, you know, a special week needs a special guest. So Matt will be joining us for that. So looking forward to that's one I've seen, but it's been a number of years. So not as long as it's been since I saw what we'll be talking about here today, however. But you know what? I also wanted to mention that we'll be talking about 1984's The Toxic Avenger, but Toyman, they just put out a new Toxic Avenger, and I am shocked that you have not seen it, or have you? And it was just so bad you didn't want to review it.
Nope, I did not get a chance to see it. There was actually a plan. My cousin and I quite often hit up the movies, but our plans fell through for the Toxic Avenger, and now I understand it's already hitting digital and streaming. So this one's going to be one of those wait and see. To be honest, I know that they say it's an homage to the original Trauma films, but I feel that and we'll get into this too. I feel that a modern spin on Trauma just doesn't really hit me the same way some of the classics do. So I was not as intensely focused on seeing the new one in the theater. I think that it's probably best that I wait for streaming. And who knows, maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, but I'm leaning my favoritism more towards the one that we're about to talk about here.
Yeah, I think trying to recapture the Trauma vibe and feel, it's I know Michael Worth has talked about it many times. You can't like reproduce Bruceploitation in today's modern world.
The time they're made in is such a byproduct of what they are. It just it's like when they try to like redo fashion now for like the 80s, and it's just, you know, or some movies that try to get set in the 80s or the 90s, and it's just like all the most cliche things, nothing of like the nuance or capturing like the actual feel of it. It's hard to do.
Right. You know, these things happen in history, and, you know, and it's like things have to line up, and the world around it has to be in such a way that these things happen. And that certainly was the case for the movie we're about to see. I want to ask Ryan Campbell, I'm assuming this was your first time watching The Toxic Avenger.
It was, yes. Obviously, I'm aware of the character.
I was going to ask, were you aware of the character? Did you?
Aware of the character. I remember like the toys being around as a kid, and like, you know, the image and like knowing about it, but I'd never seen it, so this was a first time watch.
And that's another great element to touch on because you mentioned the toys, kind of burying the lead with that, because obviously we're going to talk about some pretty graphic and intense situations in the film. But this goes back to the point that we've made quite a few times recently with, you know, the 80s, where things like Rambo and Commando and Chuck Norris, all these R-rated characters getting toy lines and cartoons. And, you know, here we had what was essentially conceived as an R-rated horror movie, like a splatter movie, and it became a toy line that was made by Playmates. It mixed in with your Ninja Turtles. They made a cartoon series out of it. So we went from really, one extreme down to the other.
Yeah, very much like RoboCop.
I was going to say RoboCop.
Yeah.
There was plenty of that back then of more adult themed movies that they found a way to make them mass marketable to kids.
Indeed, that's where the money's at, and they find a way. So yes, we are talking about the Troma team release. The Toxic Avenger actually had a warning about extreme violence.
It was like the Surgeon General's warning from Troma.
Mm-hmm. And we start off, it's New York City. We get some narration talking about pollution being a byproduct of today's society. And then we cut to beautiful Tromaville, New Jersey, the toxic waste dumping capital of the world.
Gotta love that green ooze.
And that's when our story then begins, Ryan Campbell, at the Tromaville Health Club, where we meet the classic 98-pound weakling.
Oh man, what a health club, Brain. I don't, none of these people must work. I assume they live at the health club and they just fitness freaks, Brain. They never leave this health club. The pool is full, but yeah, we meet our mop boy Melvin, and this opening here just sets the tone for the entire movie. Everybody in this scene is giving it. I assume everyone just hit a line of coke before they said action in every scene in this movie. Like it was just snort, action, go. And everyone's just over the top, in your face, right in the camera, like expressions. And Melvin, of course, is mopping people's faces. He's dipping his mop everywhere. He's in the way. He's the nerd. He's getting picked on by all the health junkies. And I mean, this just kind of sets the stage of what to expect for the next hour and a half here.
And again, we talk about things of their time, and this type, these health clubs and the gyms, they were becoming in vogue. And you had Olivia Newton-John and her hit "Let's Get Physical." You had, the Jane Fonda workout tapes were becoming a thing because tapes were becoming a thing. So, you had the exercise show on ESPN with the women in the scantily clad women bending. You had
on Disney. Disney had Mousercise on the Disney Channel every morning.
Health and fitness was really becoming a fad of the 1980s, and it's playing out here at the Tromaville Health Club. We get a whole opening, like we get a montage with the opening credits to the tune of "Body Talk" by Sandy Farina. That was
It's an earworm. It'll stay with you.
It is. It was a toe tapper. And as you said, Ryan, Melvin is being mocked by some of the regulars, most notably Bozo, Julie, Wanda, and Slug. These sound like toy character names.
They do. Even Wanda, like it's a real name, but it still just sounds like a toy name.
Right.
Like,
then Melvin, he gets distracted, and instead of putting his mop in the mop bucket, he puts it in the hot tub. And hot tubs were big in the 80s too, Toyman. Hollywood hot tubs.
I was just going to say Hollywood hot tubs, another staple of USA Up All Night, much like the Toxic Avenger trilogy.
Unbelievable. So you also had those horror movie, was it like Death Spa? What's the other
one?
Oh yeah,
was it like a Robicide or something?
It could have been, yeah.
I'm thinking of the cover.
Yeah,
like there was like the girls in the workout uniforms.
Yeah, it was. And I'll tell you what. Yeah, so all of this is so 80s. This is so 80s. So yeah, the mop, Bozo freaks out. He's like, I'm gonna shove that mop down your throat. Then Julie gets out. She berates Melvin for stressing her man out. And then we see something interesting that I don't think you would see really wouldn't see anywhere in today's world, but even in the 80s, I don't think you would have seen somebody smoking, Ryan Campbell, at a gym.
Yeah, they're kind of trying to have their cake and eat it too, with like the edgy, punk kind of people, but they're also health and fitness minded at the gym. So, I mean, it might just be like they're there for social reasons, Brain, not for true fitness. So they're still getting their smoke on because they're the cool guys.
And you literally had the fat girl working out who was having her cake and eating it too. She had the candy bars in her pocket and everything.
Well, then we just get like a fat guy laying on a table with a sub sandwich. What the heck was that?
Yeah.
Is there a Subway tie-in?
Was Subway even
He was the
around?
mayor. It was probably a bribe.
Yeah, it's true. That was the mayor.
We don't think we knew that yet, though.
No. At that point, you just see this big Jabba the Hutt looking motherfucker. So yeah, we see Smoke and Slug. Him and Wanda go to the locker room because they're gonna party. Because, like you said, Ryan Campbell, they just must live here or try to live here anyway. And this is where we find out that Slug and Bozo like to run over people for fun.
Yeah, it takes a shocking twist here. Like we're 5 minutes into the movie and we're like, okay, it's your typical jocks that are like, rough them up and there's going to be an accident. And then we, then he'll move on to fight real crime. No, these are some sick motherfuckers, Brain.
Yeah. This is until we get the transformation of Melvin, and spoiler alert in case you didn't know what was going to happen. This is like a collection of some of the most horrible human. Like you wouldn't want to spend 2 seconds with any of these people in this movie.
No, they're utterly unlikable.
Common trope now in movies to try to like not sympathize, but like give character to the villains. They're the heroes in their own story, kind of thing. Not here. These are just sick individuals.
Yeah, I mean, you're so sick that, you want to, like, we find out, they want to screw in the locker room, very romantic setting. I mean, I guess it's dangerous because they're kind of in public, but
there's nothing wrong with that, Brain. That's what we're getting to later. That's the sick part.
Well, then Melvin walks.
Those two that screwed in the locker room, Slug and Wanda, they ended up getting married in real life.
Oh, so there is romance involved. Yeah, but Melvin, he's off. Else, I think he's like in the shower area mopping, and then he hears what's going on, so he takes a walk over, and he's enjoying the show for a bit until they threaten to kill him. And you might think, oh, that's just an empty threat, until we cut to the foursome in Bozo's car, and they are they're going to run over people. We find out there's a point system involved, by ethnicity in some cases. But also,
rather we find out with rather harsh words again.
Yeah,
very much not something that any filmmaker worth his salt is going to put in for shock value these days.
No, we hit the checklist of racial slurs all in a row. Just get them all out of the way.
And then Julie's like, I don't want you to just hit people with the car. I want you to kill them. And that's about the time they see a kid on a bike.
In the middle of the night. Mom puts him on his bike. I'll go off. Have a good time. Be careful.
So how much for a kid on the bike? Well, we're about to find out.
Well, they also say he gets bonus points for getting the kid and the bike. And I would almost say, Brain, you should get bonus points for only hitting one, because I don't know how in the heck you would manage to hit one and not the other. If you could hit the bike and not the kid, that's something.
I mean, you could definitely hit the bike. Maybe hit that first and the kid goes flying off before the car actually makes contact with him. But I think it'd be real difficult to hit the kid without hitting the bike.
Yeah.
So
it's a package deal, Brain. You're getting both.
It is. And so they hit the kid, but they're like, oh, he's still moving. That doesn't count, Bozo. Oh, really? So
he's not moving. This kid is a bloody mess, dragging his lifeless half of body across the road.
Right. Well,
a kid.
Bozo backs up the car and crushes the kid's skull. Toyman, you sick bastard. What kind of movies were you watching back then?
And the Toxic Avenger is one that I saw when I was rather young. I was probably like 6 or 7. This was like a rental that my cousin brought home. I don't think this was expected. But you know what? I don't think I was scared by it, because they are practical effects, and obviously it was meant to shock and scare people. But you can see when the gore is a practical effect. And that's kind of the beauty of this being low budget. That's part of the charm. is that yes, they are going for like that shock jock. How much can we top the previous scene? But you can see when it's a mannequin, a watermelon, corn syrup, whatever the case may be. So to me, it wasn't as visceral of a reaction as watching, Freddy or Jason, slash someone or something like that. Like that to me, which was taking place in a fantasy world, was scarier than the fact of actual people running an actual person over with an actual vehicle.
Yeah, I don't think I rented this movie. I feel like this was something I may have watched on like the movie channel, or maybe whatever channel the kid across the street had, whatever movie channel he had. I don't remember, but I don't remember renting it. But I definitely remember seeing it late at night on cable, like, but not the USA, the uncut.
See, it wasn't until years later, like I had seen it unedited, and then years later was when it started popping up on USA, and that was kind of like, oh yeah, like this movie, and that's
Mhm.
kind of what reignited my fandom. Like, I remember this movie, like the monster guy, like he was kind of like the Hulk, and as you know, I was obsessed with the Hulk as a kid, and still am to this day. Um, so yeah, it was those edited versions that kind of got me back into the Toxie fandom and following it more. But as a kid, I mean, I was told to turn my head several times during
Mm.
this film with the ladies in this one, with between the sex in the gym and Julie flashing Melvin and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, a kid getting run over is fine, but when she shows her boobs, get out of the room for a minute.
Well, that's America.
Yeah, that is definitely America.
So yeah, afterward, then Julie and Wanda get out and they got their Polaroid camera and they start taking pictures of the carnage. And it's like, really, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Bozo
And
does have.
Julie's like the low budget version of Cindy from Three's Company.
Okay, thank you. Come and knock on your door. Bozo has church in the morning though, so they have to cut things short.
He's a good boy, Bozo. As long as he's in that PO, nobody cares what he's doing.
So
But I mean, that's a solid attempt at humor. After what I mean, you
got
that
to
is
lighten the
some
mood after
pretty,
you just killed a
yeah,
kid, right? Good job,
you
Troma.
know, I mean, they said it was a dark comedy. They just didn't tell us how dark it would be.
Oh, it's dark. The next day at the health club, Slug puts a small snake down the shirt of the aerobics instructor, and boy, does hilarity ensue, Ryan Campbell.
They do the thing where he says, you should all follow me. And then when he's acting weird, they actually don't do it, which is what I assumed was the gag they were going for. But they all
Three
just,
Stooges gag.
yeah, like they'd be like, you should all follow me. And then he starts making weird movements, and your brain is like, okay, now the whole room will do them. And they don't. They subverted my expectations there, but everyone starts kind of laughing at him for acting kind of crazy. And
then we're going to go to the racquetball court, and Melvin has pressed himself up against the glass.
Let's just say Melvin's mom had a little too much Tylenol when she was pregnant with him.
Yeah, this was like the it's something about a bus that's not as big as the others. But listen now. So
kudos to them for casting an actual nerdy looking guy as Melvin. Like this wasn't, Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner or whatever, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. This was, and no offense to the guy, Mark Torgl is his real name, but he was not, an actor playing a nerd. Like he really is kind of an awkward looking fellow.
Indeed he is. Again, just it's not somebody you'd want to spend any time with. But Julie has a plan now to get to Melvin, and we get the classic huddle where we can't hear what's going on, but they're plotting something.
Hold on, I gotta stop the presses here.
I'm
looking at the IMDb page of Mr. Mark Torgl here.
Yeah.
In 2024, so this is just last year.
Thank you.
He played Melvin the truck driver.
Oh.
In a movie called Special Needs Revolt.
Is that your suggestion for next week? Or no, next week's Duty Palooza?
We gotta, I don't know. We might have to put Duty Palooza on hold here.
I don't think
there's that you're referencing the bus brain. So he plays Melvin the truck.
I told you that was definitely, yeah. Well, Maybe we'll get to that one. So I don't know how much of an action film that is. I don't know how
There
much
is
of an action film this is, but we're talking about it.
All I know is it looks like the White House on the cover, and there is a bunch of special needs individuals brandishing machine guns on the trailer on the poster. So I think it might be some action.
Okay. Well, we might have to look into that. But yeah, they're making their plan to get back at Melvin because I guess life in general just hasn't done Melvin wrong enough. These frickin' foursome have to do the same thing. They have to do even worse. So Julie finds Melvin, apologizes for their conversation, yelling at him the day before by the pool. She's like, I have a problem. I need your help. Meet me at the girls' locker room at 7 because, again, these people don't work. They just hang out at this health club the minute it opens and try to arrange to stay after hours if they can.
They pay $15 to bang all night long, apparently.
Yeah. Meanwhile, as we established at the beginning, Toyman, Tromaville is in fact the toxic waste dumping capital of the world, and sure enough, here comes a flatbed truck carrying a bunch of 55-gallon drums of toxic waste without lids for some reason. I will know the reason very shortly.
Unsealed, unsecured,
just bubbling away.
When they say Tromaville is the toxic waste dumping, I mean, you just dump it anywhere.
I guess, yeah.
There's no litter laws here. Just throw it where you want.
And the mayor don't care. And the driver and the passenger decide, let's get high. All right. So they park, and of course they park right outside the Tromaville Health Club. We now cut back inside where Julie's like, hey, I want to fuck you by the pool. But I want you to wear I love a man in
Who
pink.
Hasn't been told this, Who of us haven't,
Is this a story you'd like to share? No.
I just call this a Tuesday, Brain.
Oh, no wonder we record
Let's
these on
just
Thursday.
say I'm not welcome inside Planet Fitness anymore.
Okay. Very good.
Did you dump your toxic waste in their pool, Ryan Campbell?
Let's just say I set off the fuck alarm.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that was
the lunk alarm
feature at the Planet. But anyway, she wants them in pink, so she hands him tights and a tutu. And of course, he's not too sure about it, but when she shows him her boobs, suddenly he changes his mind. And he will wear the tutu.
And trot around proudly.
Oh, he's got his mop, of course, because,
well, she told him to bring the mop.
That is true. She did.
If this was a real seduction, I shudder to think what that would be used for.
Yeah. So he goes down by the pool, but the lights are all off. And when they come on, Ryan Campbell, he's making out with a sheep.
Yeah, and honestly, as things go, this is why you can't blow your load too early, Brain. We saw these people run down a kid with a car twice and take Polaroids of it that got them hot.
Yeah.
Compared to that, this seems rather tame. Like, I assume when she's talking to him in the locker room that they're just going to kill the guy. Like, they're going to draw him outside and run him down with the car is where my brain's going. So making him kiss a sheep in a tutu is rather tame compared to what the alternative could have been.
Where'd they get the sheep too?
It has it has membership at the health club.
All right.
It was the 80s, Brain.
I mean, they were just trying to pull the wool over his eyes.
There we go. I'm going to move on. So yeah, it's total humiliation for Melvin, and he starts running away. And of course, everybody has to follow him, which causes a Death Wish 2-like moment as Melvin he throws himself out the goddamn window.
Manages to avoid the fence.
There is no fence, but there are the open drums of toxic waste that we mentioned just moments ago. And then Melvin falls headfirst into it. When he gets out, he is just writhing in pain on the sidewalk, and all those sick bastards from the health club have now made their way outside.
Not just from the health club, Brain.
And yeah, we got some.
The entire freaking neighborhood comes out.
Obviously.
You would have thought they were having like the farmers parade or something. Everyone just lines the streets to see what the hell's going on.
That could be where the sheep came from, but yeah, they're just there and they're looking. Of course, just the normal citizens are like, oh my God, what is this? But the people from the health club, they're just laughing and enjoying the scene of this man slowly dying. The cops show up, but then Melvin spontaneously combusts and is running through the streets, gets home, jumps in his bathtub, and that's where we meet his mom, who's outside the bathroom door, concerned. And inside, Melvin's skin is bubbling, his hair is falling out, and then at one point, his mom just says, "Oh, he's finally hit puberty."
After the camera shake and using the negative film to signify the full transformation into the Toxic Avenger.
Indeed, and we get to see a bit of, from a distance of Melvin now as the Toxic Avenger running through a field.
As one does.
He's free. Later that night, a trio of toughs led by Cigar Face attempt to bribe Officer O'Clancy. Because just
the most stereotypical Irish cop this side of Dick Tracy.
Right. Just Officer Clancy was not enough of an Irish name, so they had to put the O.
I'm pretty sure
he talks like this. Like he wants some Lucky Charms.
I think he's in the Departed, isn't he?
I don't know. You've got the IMDb page open.
He may actually be Departed at this point. This was 40 years ago.
Yeah, that is true. So he refuses the bribe, but Cigar Face is like, okay, well then we'll just beat you up. So they beat him up, and then like, okay, I'm gonna shoot you in the dick. Well,
that's after the transvestite Nipples suggests that they were told basically like they could rape him if he refused to take payment.
It's true.
So, one thing I found, again, we are going to the extreme in basically every scenario here.
One place we didn't go to the extreme, which I thought was kind of funny, was Nipples' attire. So he's got like a skirt on,
right?
But under the skirt he has sweatshirt. Yeah, and under the skirt he has like long shorts, like longer. Like we saw more leg from the guys at the gym wearing like 80s short shorts,
right?
Than he's wearing under. So it's like they put him in a dress, but then they had him wear like super long shorts. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, you got Knuckles and Nipples, and Cigar Face.
What a pair!
So yeah, before O'Clancy gets shot in the dick, though, Toxie does show up, and he uses Cigar Face. He uses his face as a punching bag, and then he stuffs him in a drum. Then he pokes Nipples' eyes out, and then he does the old double noggin knocker to Knuckles and Nipples, and then Ryan Campbell, the finisher, the mop to the face.
That's right. Around this time, you know how you had the gimmicks and wrestlers that would do things like maybe it was Jake the Snake and the Snake, or pouring like a bucket of slop or something, or whatever like the gimmick was. That was his gimmick. His closing thing as he leaves them laid out in the rain is just to put the mop on the face.
This actually would have predated all of it. So maybe this is where Vince saw it and he's like, okay, we need a guy who'll put a snake on somebody. We need a guy who'll cut someone's hair.
Yeah,
we need a guy who'll shove $1 or $100 bill in your mouth when he's done.
There you go. That's what they had.
This was the gimmick. This was the hook.
We need a prison guard to handcuff you to the ropes and start beating you with a nightstick. God bless it. All right.
Well, I do want to say too, one of the amazing things about this job, Brain.
Yeah.
And is you get to read sentences like this in the notes.
What's that?
Poking Nipples' eye out, comma, double noggin knocker to Knuckles and Nipples, comma, then Mop faces both of them. Cigar Face runs off vowing revenge. What a sentence.
Thank you.
What a sentence.
That's not even the
most violent Three Stooges sequence ever recorded.
Yeah, that's
a poke to the eyes that actually disables the eyes, knocks them out, and a double noggin knocker, which was a literal skull-crushing finale years before The Miz was wrestling.
I think that's the piece of resist. Double noggin knocker to Knuckles and Nipples. That's the
right.
That's the meat of the amazing.
It's got a lot of nice alliteration in there,
right.
And it
sounds like an album name.
It's from the Gorilla. So anytime I can quote Mr. Monsoon, I do it. There's a crazier line in here somewhere down the line. We'll get to that. Toxie does help up O'Clancy, who's just bumfuzzled. You like that word?
That's a good one.
He does that, and then O'Clancy's getting patched up at the police precinct. The press is all there, and he's telling them about what happened there at Shinbone Alley.
Is that the official name? Is that the government name of the alley?
I don't know, but I do know, speaking of government, it's now time to officially meet the mayor, Toyman.
Yeah, Mayor Peter Belgoody, the fat bastard, not from Austin Powers, but the one that was laying down at the health club earlier, and all of his sycophants. He's got the guy with the bad toupee, the bad comb over. He's got the Nazi police chief, like a literal Nazi,
Yeah.
like doing like the Sieg Heil and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, in case you haven't learned, folks, these are not good people. These politicians do not have Tromaville's best interests at heart.
No, we find that out. And then we go back to the health club where Wanda is about to enjoy the sauna. And then Slug shows up, Ryan Campbell, doing his Elephant Man impersonation.
That's right. Let's say it's about to get extra steamy in this sauna, brain.
So now Melvin, or Toxie, if you would like, he goes home. Because what else is he going to do? He's done his crime fighting for the evening, and his mom is absolutely freaked out. Obviously, she does not recognize this as her son, and she slams the door in his face. So now Melvin has no home. So where else would a Toxic Avenger make a home but the city dump?
Yeah, I feel like we brushed over a little quickly there at the end of the battle that he had in the alley when he rescued O'Clancy. That was the first time we hear his voice as he's transformed.
That's true.
And I was not prepared for that to be the voice.
What voice would you?
It's like. Why, hello there, sir. I'm here to help you. I will not hurt you. Here, let me help you up, and you could go on your merry way, and I will go back to.
He's the articulate Avenger.
I really was not. I was like, is that because most of the first? It's really not until the third act that we see him use this voice with the camera shot on him. A lot of it's all done in ADR. And I'm like, is that him? Is that him talking there? And it is in fact his voice, because we hear it here again when he's talking to his mom.
I think it was Keith Lee who did his voice. I might be wrong.
It wasn't the guy that played the Toxic Avenger in the first one, Mitchell Cohen, but it wasn't his voice. It was overdubbed. There was a different voice actor.
I don't see that here on the IMDb of like who did the voice. They don't have that called out.
Let me check.
If I hit more, I might say it.
Kenneth Kessler as the voice of the Toxic Avenger.
Did he do any other voice work?
Let's check and see.
Everyone loves when we look things up on this show.
Man, a lot of work in the 40s, 45s to like 1960. So he was in a...
Yeah, he was born in 1920. So the man that did the Toxic Avenger's voice was pushing 64 years old.
1920. See? He remembers the Roaring 20s, see?
He may have done some Dick Tracy stuff. Now listen. So the mayor and his shady associates realize that the current dump, whoever planned this back in the day, didn't think about the valuable waterfront property they were eating up by putting the dump there. So then they're like, let's just move the dump next to the reservoir. Oh, okay. Why is any of this happening?
Because it's great for a thriving, because when you want a nice town where people come and pay taxes and do businesses. So then, if you're shady, you can skim even more off the top.
Right, yeah.
But no, I mean, these guys are just willing to just kill every single person in this town.
Yeah, and
then no one to pay money to them. I don't know. And this ruling over
very short-sighted.
Yeah, they haven't thought this through, I don't think, Brain. Not the brightest. They can learn a thing or two from the crime bosses across the river there.
Yeah. You want to talk about something that's thriving though? How about the Mexican place? I mean, it seems like
which is literally the name of the Mexican place.
Right. We're gonna go down.
It must be Taco Tuesday in this bitch.
We're gonna go to where you want to go for lunch. How about the Mexican place? Yes.
The Mexican place that has katanas on the wall.
Right. And a pizza oven.
A pizza oven, yeah.
To
be fair, the really nice Mexican restaurant down at the bottom of the hill here where I live does have a few things like that. Like my kids get the hamburgers and the chicken tenders. Right. So, I mean, they could have a pizza oven.
Well, you could have a taco pizza. Anyone?
All right. Could.
And everybody's hanging out outside like it's the restaurant in Porky's, just like dancing in the back of their trucks and everything.
It's the place to be in Tromaville, is the Mexican place. And realizing that it's so busy, you see it so busy, you have to also think, that cash register is probably pretty freaking full. All this business, because again, this is the 80s.
Taco money, brain.
People were paying in cash back then. You didn't have your debit card and all that. You didn't just tap it. You could show your phone or some shit. Yeah, you had cash money. So what a great. So you get a trio of thugs: Frank, Rico, and Leroy. And I saw this movie probably in like 1986, 87 was probably the last time I saw this movie. So when I see Leroy and I see freaking Patrick Kilpatrick back with us again here on the Bulletproof Pod, what the hell?
This was one of his first, if not his first role.
Yeah. Did you not know that he was in it when you watched
the
review?
No.
I thought I had mentioned it to Brain before. But he's actually in it twice.
He doesn't listen to you half the time, so.
Yeah, I don't listen to anyone. But
Brain, did you catch that he's actually in this twice?
Yes, I think I have that in the notes, that somehow Leroy returns. I know it's not probably meant to be Leroy because he doesn't have his face paint.
Using people in different roles.
Right. Because with that face paint, I didn't recognize him without.
It's only half the face, though.
That's
so
true.
This was his third role ever, and he was billed as Pat Kilpatrick.
Mm-hmm.
And he would only do one other movie named Insignificance in between the Toxic Avenger and something near and dear to your heart, Brain.
Remo Williams. The Adventure Begins. 1985. 40 years coming up on that one too. So yeah, they come up, these bastards. There's a blind woman enjoying some lunch.
I guess this is like a power leveling type of thing. Yeah. We've already seen bad guys run a kid down with a car. So how do you possibly raise the stakes when it comes to irredeemable jackasses in this movie?
Yeah. Worst thing that you shoot a golden retriever, and not just any this woman's like service animal.
Yeah, not just kill a dog, which is like number one cardinal sin in a movie anyway. You can't kill the dog. You shoot it for one. It doesn't die like in a heroic, or like in a disaster movie. No, straight up takes a bullet, and it's a blind woman's service dog. Sons of bitches.
And then there's a guy who tries to reason with them, and I think this guy comes back to life as well, Toyman, or these people all look alike. That guy gets shot.
Oh, as soon as he stood up against that lattice, I was like, "Oh, you're dead, dude."
Yeah. But then Toxie does show up once again and we'll find out about this in a moment. But Toxie shows up, rips Frank's arm off, and then, but first Frank hits the line, "I always wanted a cornhole, a blind bitch."
Yeah, as he's
shock value. And did you notice that Frank did the whole scene with the dummy arm? Like, you never see him lift that arm, and there's a couple of points where you can tell that it's the fake hand.
I didn't
That's
notice.
Interesting. I did not.
I thought he really ripped his arm off.
They got it set up, and they were like, "Well, shit, we've already got it set up. Let's just shoot it."
Yeah. So yeah, Toxie comes in, rips Frank's arm off, and beats him with it, which is the greatest move a person can do.
The funny part being is Frank doesn't even realize his arm has been ripped off at first.
Right. Well, he's in shock.
He stands up and is smiling, and then he's kind of exchanges a few lines or throws a few punches at it before he realizes he's missing his arm.
Right. And then Leroy shows up, and he's there, and then we got a nunchaku wielding Rico. So much of this was like watching it for there was Patrick Kilpatrick in this. There were nunchaku in this movie.
He's gonna pull the katanas off the wall.
And
it's like a full-fledged fight scene in the Mexican place.
Yeah, and of course the fight ends up in the kitchen, and Rico gets his hands deep fried. Leroy is turned into a hot dead sundae. And
is that the other line that you were talking about?
No, and then I have it's Frank. I have this note is wrong. Frank is shoved into the pizza oven.
Yes. Yep. Patrick Kilpatrick is turned into a sundae.
He's turned into a sundae. So then Toxie goes,
and that's a long scene too. We see every ingredient of that sundae.
Oh yeah. We
don't spare a single second.
Right. And I mean, this movie's only 84 minutes long. And anyway, so that's really devoted.
Yeah, we see the milk go in, the ice cream, the syrup, put the cherry on top, the whole night.
Oh, yeah. So then Toxie goes back out to the dining room. And there's Sarah in tears, not knowing, she doesn't have her dog. She doesn't know what to do. He's going to help get her home. Cops show up to investigate, and they see all the carnage. Then we cut to Sarah's apartment where she tells Toxie.
No, Brian, don't skip out on it here.
Okay.
Not only do they see all the carnage, they report what they're seeing as munching down on some tacos.
Of course.
And they report it with food innuendo. He's like, "Oh, I got a deep fried whatever over here," and he's got I got an extra crispy,
big old crunchy bite of a taco.
Yeah.
I think what do you say about Patrick Kilpatrick? He's like, "Oh, I got a blood red sundae here," or something like that.
And this seems like a good part to bring this up, and I texted you this as I was watching it. I don't think this movie has a single straight man in the entire cast.
No,
every single person is playing the most like over the top caricature. They're just giving it their all. Every single person. I can't think of there's a single straight man. The closest I came was the guy who introduces people at the press conferences.
Yeah,
he's the only guy who's like
the Troma way.
Yeah, he's the only guy who goes like, here is the police chief to answer questions, or here's the mayor to answer questions. Mm-hmm. That's like the closest thing the movie has to somebody playing it straight.
Yeah, you're right. We do go back to Sarah's apartment where she tells Toxie to watch his step, and then she proceeds to trip. I did enjoy that.
That was a good one. I took out of me. Her whole. I just talked about how everyone's giving it their all, but it's like she's. I think she just became blind today, Brian, because she's like,
she just totally eats it.
Yeah, looking up to the sky, just wandering around. I cracked up at the 50 canes she has lined up inside her door. There's just a stack of them, and of course she knocks them all over as she's reaching for her cane. But just fabulous.
She wants to feel Toxie's face, but he's like, "Oh no, I have acne," so didn't want to do that. But he's like, "Oh yeah, you could read my palm." So she reads his palm, but then when she goes to read his other palm, Ryan Campbell.
Yeah, she gets a little more than she bargained for, as we find out there are some other areas of the Toxic Avenger that are engorged.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's now cut to the monster press conference.
Because, there's no time to hit on a woman than after she was just nearly raped. That's that true. Seems like the good time to establish a relationship, right, exactly.
Her knight in shining armor. We meet Dr. Snodberger, who somehow knows that this monster is chemically wired to only kill bad people. There's something inside him.
Well, you know why you can trust him, Brandon, is the accent. He has like an Albert Einstein accent. So we've got Nazis and an Albert Einstein role in this film.
You need to balance it all out. But yeah.
The monster only seems to attack like that. Like that's how you know he knows what he's talking about.
Excellent. So he's like, there's something inside him that commands him to destroy evil. But Toxie himself doesn't know this, Toyman, and we're going to find that out in a little while.
Yeah, he's hardwired this way, but I guess this is the part where he's coming to terms with his power and doesn't realize that he's got a toxic spider sense at this point.
I was going to say, it was kind of like a spider sense. Yeah.
So yeah, and
Which
it's
explains why he keeps showing up where bad shit is about to happen.
It's like a combination of Ghost Rider and the Spider Sense, where he can see the evil in people, but he just naturally.
That is the thing too. It's not like, Toxie's, hiding in a building and sees O'Clancy getting attacked, and Toxie's not, picking up some tacos and happens upon the robbery. He just shows up at the best possible moment to save the good people.
Yeah, and I do like where it said commands him to destroy evil, and we cut to the health club where we see a drug dealer selling to various gym goers. There's Julian,
and much like Ryan Campbell said, doing lines of coke before he works out.
Julian and Wanda are looking at their pictures that they love so much because they're a bunch of sick bitches. And then next thing you know, there's Toxie. He shows up, the drug dealer. After he sold all the drugs he needed for the day, went over the weight machine, Ryan Campbell. And well, that doesn't work out for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he, when you're lifting weights, sometimes you need a spotter, but he did not get the spotter he needed as Toxie shows up, and it's almost like a little Final Destination moment if you're ever using those machines where they have like the automatic thing where you can put the different weights on it, and you're always like, man, what would happen if that thing just came flying down on top of like your foot or something? Well, he gets it straight through the face. Right?
Yeah, another smashed head. This movie could have said, we smashed one head. No, we're going to smash two.
And more excellent effects. And this one takes place like in the light. Like it's not like the head run over was kind of dark, so you can kind of get away with it. This one's like, in the well-lit gym, and it looked fantastic. Like all the gross out body horror effects in this look fantastic.
Wanda back in the sauna. And once again, though, it's like, here comes the Elephant Man. And she's like, how many times are you going to do this bit?
Yeah.
And this is where we get really that first look at his full face, Toyman. She pulls that towel off, and there it is, Toxie, right in her face.
And we should note that in this original film, Toxie is not like the fully green mutated Toxie that you would see in future films and in the cartoons and stuff like that. There really is still like a half human element to him.
Right. And so he picks her up and puts her ass on the hot coals. So she gets hers.
I mean, how hot do those coals really get, though? Like, very hot.
Watch Friday the 13th. Jason Takes Manhattan.
Okay. Because that's just as reliable.
It is. That is 100% reliable. So then later we do see that the Toxie's discharge is that bright green you were talking about, Toyman.
I guess I guess that counts as dumping toxic waste in Tromaville.
Mm-hmm. He's just pissing right in the, I don't know if it was Shinbone Alley or a different alley, but he's pissing away, and of course a pimp is driving by, happens to be driving by, and he's like, hey, I got me a brand new 12-year-old girl.
Only $12.
Now,
it's a clown car limo too.
If movies have taught me anything, like these young underage kids that are turned into these prostitutes, they're going to fetch you way more than $12. And you already probably have a certain sick fuck clientele that you can shop these people to. You don't just drive around and be like, hey, you want a 12-year-old?
I want to commend you, Brain, on how you navigated that point, because I was kind of thinking the same thing. You did a fantastic job of wading those waters there.
Watch Kinjite, the Forbidden Subjects, and that'll show you what the kind of sick fuck rich ass pedos that are into this shit.
Well, especially in this town with the mayor and every single person, like as corrupt as they are, they're into that shit.
And the girl's like, oh, he told me he was going to take me to a David Bowie concert. That's how he tricked her. Toyman, favorite David Bowie song?
I'm not a huge David Bowie fan.
Christ.
So I'll say Let's Dance, just because I appreciate the beat to that song.
Okay, Ryan.
Probably the catchiest.
Do you have one?
That's a great question because there was what was I think it was actually Last Dance, but there was one we got into it a little bit. I remember back playing like Guitar Hero, and there were I think it was Just Dance was on that, but it got us into like listening to some other David Bowie. Of course, there's Under Pressure, but what was the other one? I'm kind of looking at some of the other. There was one that I remember really liking. But unfortunately, it's not coming to me.
I'll tell you the proper answer. It's Modern Love.
There you go.
Do you know? Does anyone?
Not a fan of that one. I know it. I'm just not a fan of it.
You're a son of a bitch. Do you know the wrestling connection to Modern Love?
I'm going to ask you to remind me because off the top of my head, I do not know.
Anyone? There was an instrumental version of that was used for All-Star Wrestling, WWF All-Star Wrestling. Do you know what instrumental song was used for WWF Championship Wrestling? Anyone?
Nope.
Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That I remember. Okay, yep, that I remember.
They showed the Hogan going out for his match with Sheik. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the open of that show. What
a time! Can you imagine like a song as culturally relevant as Thriller right now, trying to pay royalties to even have an instrumental version? How much that cost you?
They didn't pay shit. That's why they were doing stuff like that back then. Because
ECW in the 90s was the last of the dying breed.
Like the Kung Fu movie you sent me a clip of that was literally just the Star Wars theme.
Yeah, they weren't, because who was paying attention to wrestling? Especially, at that, that WWF was expanding at that point, but that's why these, regional, like who's paying attention to all that? But
and even if they did catch them, they're like, they don't got any money.
Eventually,
why even sue them? They
right.
don't.
I think it wasn't really until I think they got in trouble for Eye of the Tiger, which Hogan was using as his entrance, that started to stop then and there. So, but yeah, there you go, David Bowie. Also, I would have also accepted Golden Years, which you can hear in A Knight's Tale.
A little bit of a butterfly effect. Did we get Real American because they had to come up with a new song because they couldn't play Eye of the Tiger?
Here's an interesting story about that, Ryan Campbell. Real American was originally the music for Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo, the USA Express or the US Express.
US Express.
And Hogan had his theme on the first album was the one from the Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling cartoon. And it was not. But then by the time that album came out, Barry Windham had went back to the NWA, so they suddenly had this Rick Derringer song, and it became Hogan's song.
What a time.
So there you go.
So many of those little happenstance moments in wrestling where like, something happens and you got to just make it work, and it ends up becoming like this huge thing.
And then like that Hogan song was re-recorded by Bonnie Tyler, the song Ravishing. It's all very interesting. The music of wrestling in the 80s. You could probably do a whole podcast on that if we were a wrestling podcast, which we've basically been for the last 5 minutes. But I'm moving on now because Toxie beats up the pimp and all these, as you said, it's like a clown car because these goons just keep pouring out of it. And that's when Toxie's like, things are going to change in this town. And we get kind of that.
I'm not just another pretty face.
Right. And we get, and they did this so perfectly in my all-time favorite movie, 1978 Superman. We get to see a bunch of Toxie doing things. Superman did it. We see it in RoboCop as well. It's the second time we've mentioned RoboCop. RoboCop does it too. Like RoboCop's first night out on patrol, and he gets to do all this cool shit. We get to see Toxie doing somewhat cool shit, like preventing a kid from being run over.
So was that jar of popcorn that he opened evil?
It was for that lady at the time.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, the person who sealed it was.
Yeah.
Orville Redenbacher.
He helps an old lady across the street. He opens up the jar of Orville Redenbacher and ends up popping the kernels in the process.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's
Yeah.
cool. I just thought maybe they sold popcorn back then, like
In a jar.
You bought.
Oh, it was like the Jiffy Pop effect because he's toxic.
Yeah, I didn't get that though because I didn't catch it. The first part, it was kernels. So when I saw her open it and they were popcorn, I just thought, you buy a bag of, you can buy a bag of already popped popcorn now. For all I know, they sold it in jars back then. I don't know. It was 500 years ago.
Watch your mouth. Listen, how much you weren't going to get very much pop? Come on, that would be a waste of time. He also saves a baby. And next thing you know, there's Toxie merch.
And that's still only my second favorite toxic themed t-shirt from the 80s. My favorite being the I Love Toxic Waste shirt worn by Val Kilmer in Real Genius.
There you go. I thought somehow it was going to be a Garbage Pail Kids reference. I'm pleasantly surprised.
He's getting over Brain. Toximania is sweeping.
Yeah, it is. So we now have to go back to the mayor and his shady associates, and they're like, we need to kill him before he kills us. Next thing you know, there's Cigar Face. He vowed to come back, and he's back, but so is Leroy sans face paint, although I assumed he was supposed to be playing somebody else.
Yeah, he's just another random hoodlum.
Or he's the teacher from class of 1999 and can't be destroyed so easily.
Mr. Briles. Or he's my teacher, as I've mentioned on this podcast.
Right.
Maybe he just ate all of the sundae and survived.
Maybe. Maybe it froze him. He was like cryogenically frozen and they were able to reanimate him. I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't really matter because they're all dispatched up. So now Toxie's like, I gotta go meet my lady. But of course, in Tromaville, a blind woman doesn't stand a chance. She's just getting harassed by these guys on the street.
Everybody just picks on the blind woman in town.
And then we get a nice montage of Melvin and Sarah. That includes some interesting scenes. Ryan Campbell, I know you enjoyed it. These two consummate the relationship.
Yeah, it finally happens. I'm glad they established a little bit of a friendship and didn't just jump right to it, especially when she was in a vulnerable state all these times from her ordeal. So he may be toxic, Brain.
Yeah,
but he's still an ally.
Yeah, he's there, and
he's not that kind. He's not toxic masculinity.
Right. I got you. And he may have done something to her eggs, but she makes him a bunch of eggs, Toyman.
Yeah, complete with the shells and butter packets, and you just see Toxie kind of chowing down, getting his fill in. I guess he's got to rejuvenate and get some energy back after that sexy time. And why is it that this is taking place at Sarah's house?
Right.
How come the set used for her house looks as much of a dump as Toxie's dump set?
Oh, she's blind.
Yeah, how's she keeping things clean? She don't know.
She's got her stack of 50 canes by the door, and outside that, she's shit out of luck.
Toyman.
Maybe she's Daredevil.
Be sensitive.
She let the dog decorate.
Yeah. So now they decide, you know what, Sarah, now they're going to really take the relationship to the next level because Sarah's going to move into the dump.
Big step.
Do you think, I don't know if I should ask this question, but I'm going to. Do you think by her moving into the dump, he's going to get her in the dumper?
And we already had one cornhole joke on this podcast. We didn't need another one.
I'm just asking
the toxic dumper.
A simple question. Anyway, Melvin goes to the health club. This time he's going to go after Julie because I guess it may have been that 30 minutes she wasn't there when he was there the last time. She does manage to get away from him, but she goes to the basement, which, you know what happens there, Toyman. There's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide in a basement.
Nope, especially from the radioactive rats that apparently hang out in the pipes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm just surprised there wasn't like some sort of manufacturing plant down there with cars hiding drugs, as all the movies we've been watching lately.
Or was one of those rats Master Splinter?
There you go. Now we're talking.
that sewer line probably connects over to New York.
I would assume, yeah, it goes
That's
across
why
the line.
Playmates took on the toy deal for these figures.
That's right.
I mean, there were similar vibes to them being kind of like outlier, going against the grain of like,
yeah, oh yeah,
yeah, being like okay, like Disney was running the gamut on like, you know, the kind of wholesome family thing. So they, you know, if you've watched any of the documentaries about the Turtles, like they were going to try to be, it was very similar, of something different outside the scope, you know. And the comic was being written about the time that this came out, so there probably was a lot of kind of crossover there or inspiration.
So while Julie's not where she's supposed to be now, since Toxic got a hold of her. So Bozo is getting stressed out, but his boy Slug, he's like, I know what'll make you feel better. And they decide to beat up an old lady and steal her car. Just so, in case we forgot.
Not just any car, Brain, a Japanese import.
Right. And okay, yeah.
Which I think is just fancy talk for a Datsun.
Well, yeah. So they steal the car, but Toxie's right on it. He jumps on the roof of the car. He ends up
grabbing the stunt handles.
Yeah. It was nice that lady had those installed. Probably
she needed them in case, you know, she had to like reach across to get herself out of the car or whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah. The mobility experts probably hooked her up with that.
That's right.
So he pulls Slug out. He gets in the passenger seat. He's pushing on the gas pedal. It's a wild ride. There's multiple car accidents. And then we get a big crash and a big explosion. And
not before the Toxic Avenger almost leads to the death of 50 kids as they just careen this car through a school.
Through the playground. Yeah. World's most dangerous playgrounds. Yeah, and as you might expect, Toyman, somebody like the Toxic Avenger could survive a car crash of that nature. But a human, even a subhuman like Bozo, not so much.
Nope, Bozo pretty much gets wrecked in the wreck, and I do appreciate the famous line when the Toxic Avenger lets him know. He's like, you know who this is? It's Melvin. It's like he's rubbing it in his face. It's like, you did this to me, now I'm about to do this to you.
Thank you. Here is the line I was referring to, Ryan Campbell. Cut to the dry cleaners, where a woman brings her son's jizz-stained pants for a cleaning.
That's it.
That's not something I expected.
A small woman, a little person.
Right. She was a little person. That is the line I was not expecting I was going to be writing in the notes. But here we are.
Yeah, bless her heart.
And I said it out loud.
Bless her heart. Maybe she's just feigning ignorance because she doesn't want to admit what it is, but she acts as if she has no idea what the stains are.
Yeah. So the proprietor has to step out for a moment, and next thing you know, Toxie's there. Something told him to go, and you're like, well, this is just if this woman doesn't even know what jizz is, although she had a son, so at some point she experienced some jizz. We're just thinking, what the hell? I mean, why is Toxie going after her? And he goes after her because she's in the dryer. Then he has her on the press. And
I love so when the shopkeep comes back in, because he had to be distracted so all this could happen.
Correct.
He says, Mrs. Whatever, you know that people can't get on the machine, as if this is something that's happened multiple times. Yeah. And he's had to tell people to get out of the press machine.
Yeah.
They mistake it for the ride outside that you put the quarter in.
Yeah, like, oh, you know you can't get up in there. Come on.
And yeah, at this point we're thinking the same thing Melvin himself is thinking. Is he out of control? Is he just now killing anyone? And he's like, Sarah, you better get out of here because I might, you might be next.
Well, they kind of play it like that too, because as he's walking up to the door, Sarah feels like in danger because she goes like, Melvin, is that you? And as he gets closer to the door, she gets nervous, like making you think that something is wrong, something is going on.
This movie's a little bit deep right now, isn't it? I mean, we're really analyzing such a film. But we're gonna. Now the mayor, of course, says, "Oh, this is exactly what you want. If you don't want this guy, Now, if you get it out there that he's just killing innocent people, well, of course, now the whole town is going to be like, we need to get rid of this bastard.
There's some, you want to talk about getting deep, Brand. There's something in there about shady politicians using an opportunity when someone that they deem a threat does something that they feel they can capitalize on. There's probably some meat on that bone if you really want to get into it.
That's a thing. That's a thing that happens.
It is.
But then we find out that this woman, this little person woman, it was like the head of the biggest white slavery ring on the East Coast. So she damn well knew
vindication for the Toxic Avenger.
She damn well knew all about jizz. She was the one who
should say she knew what was up with those pants.
Yeah. She would have been the one getting that 12-year-old girl.
I mean, she's at eye level, so you would think she would know pretty damn well what it is.
She would disguise herself as a little kid and get a bunch of those 12-year-olds and ship them over to wherever.
I think her last name was Epstein.
All right, moving on. So yeah, but even when they find out, oh shit, she was, well, we're just going to proceed with what we were going to do, and we're going to hold a press conference and say we're going to eliminate the monster from our town. And in fact, this is where we do get a bastard. Not everyone, of course, is on board, especially Officer O'Clancy, who owes still having a dick and still being able to breathe.
You want to talk about, there's only one thing worse than having a life debt, Brandon. That's a dick debt.
Right. And he owes his dick to the Toxic Avenger. And then there's obviously the kids, the one kid who was working at the Mexican place. He's definitely all about Toxie, and along with the other kids, you get the second bastard. And next thing you know, Toyman, we got the National Guard rolling into town.
Yeah, we've got guys in fatigues with guns drawn. We've got a tank coming. They are rolling out all the stops to take out one man who has done nothing wrong.
Right.
And he's being framed for a crime he didn't commit.
All I'm going to say,
or actually, he did commit it. He's just being set up.
Right. All I'm going to say is now this shady government is using this as an excuse to seize power and call in the National Guard into a U.S. city. I don't know what.
Toxie and Sarah. Sarah had convinced, wasn't there that place you'd like to go to get away from it all? Oh yeah, let's go. So they go to the field. They have this field, which I guess was on a farm, and they do a little camping. And when they get out of that tent, the tent is surrounded by the National Guard and all of Tromaville. And the people are like, Mayor, come on, you can't kill Toxie. And oh yeah, we can. Everybody ready, aim for, and then if there's anything greater than a slow clap, it would have to be a human shield, Ryan Campbell.
That's right. A very I Am Spartacus moment as everybody, starting with O'Clancy that runs in there. No, the kid from Taco Shop.
It's his mother, too.
I think the Taco Shop kid runs in first. Then it's the mother. And then, by then everyone is running in to support Toxie and say, if you want to get through him, you got to go through us.
It was like an
Clancy's the one that grabbed the mayor's gun.
Very much a Spider-Man, the townspeople throwing shit at the Green Goblin-esque moment here.
It was
you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us, kind of thing.
No, it was Spider-Man 2, Dr. Octopus, because that was Joey Diaz on the train.
I was thinking of a real old school Coca-Cola commercial, but that's me. I'm old. The cops and the National Guard at this point, they're not going to shoot because there's people, but the mayor's like, all right, I'll do it myself. So he just unloads his gun on Toxie, but these bullets have no effect on the fucking Toxic Avenger. But you know what does work?
Bulletproof Avenger.
Ooh. Welcome to the Bulletproof Podcast. All right, then Toxie goes up to the mayor and rips his fat guts out, Ryan Campbell.
That's right. For a minute, you're like, oh, is he going to have compassion on him? Is this like a character development that maybe he's reining in his abilities and being a little bit more discerning about what to do? And then no, he reaches in there and rips his guts out in front of everybody. And some people are kind of shocked at first, but then everyone's just like, okay with it.
They're cheering. Yeah, it gives this movie the happy ending that it truly deserved.
And then he just runs through the crowd going, Sarah! Like she's dying, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to find out what happens in part 2. Probably not anytime soon, however. But yeah, the Toxic Avenger, happy ending, end credits. Toyman, let's get your final thoughts.
This one has always been a favorite of mine. It's, one of those cult films that has, its reputation precedes it, but I have loved it because I am a nostalgic sap. I do agree that I can only take trauma in small doses now, so my trauma fandom pretty much sticks to the classics like this and Class of Nukem High. That final scene with the mayor is the one scene that always stuck with me as a youth, where he's like, "You fat slob, let's see if you got any guts." And he'd punch him in the stomach and his guts would just spill out and everyone's like, yay, like, the evil is gone now, apparently. um I love this film. I have always been a fan of it. I can't say that I am as big of a fan of the sequels. As a matter of fact, when you get to part 4, which was made years after 2 and 3, they actually apologize for part 2 and 3 in the beginning. So you mentioned part 2 not covering it anytime soon. I will say there's no need. If you remember the USA Up All Night airings, if you watch this, which is the unrated version, you actually don't see what happens to Wanda and Julie. But on the USA version, there is actually a scene of them still alive, freaking out, complaining to the cops. This guy's on the loose. He's coming after us. And the scene where Toxie stalked Julie into the basement with the scissors is because he cut her hair. So even though he mutilated everybody, he just decided to go all Brutus the Barber Beefcake on her.
I mean, did they shoot like an alternate, like TV safe version or something?
So there's a TV cut. Well, actually, believe it or not, the R-rated version of this movie, the original R-rated version, doesn't have a lot of this gore. And matter of fact, if you bought the original director's cut VHS, on the front of it, it says features the full head crushing scene, much like the way Shoot Fighter Part 1 said it'll rip your heart out because of
Nice.
that supposed graphic scene. So
Right.
there are actually several different alternate versions, but the one on USA actually has scenes that didn't make it into the quote unquote official cut, either the unrated or R-rated one. So you need to kind of, I think it might be the Laserdisc or one of the VHS copies that has the complete experience. So it's one of those things where it's like, you get the whole feel for it. It's really just, a scene here, a scene there. But yeah, this wasn't even, there are a couple of pieces here that I'm like, oh, what happened to that one? I remember that when I was a kid. Oh, that's right. It was just the edited for TV version, which I believe you can find on USA because my son has, because my son asks, he's like, when can I watch the Toxic Avenger? I'm like, you are not going near that one. You can watch Revenge of the Ninja all day long, buddy. But we've got to wait. And, he'll always kind of throw it back at me. He's like, well, you watched it with Uncle David, my cousin, who was like my big brother. He's like, you watched it with him when you were like 7. I'm like, look, the 80s were a different time. This is not stuff
Well,
that,
or you
that I
go,
want to
yeah,
see.
not my dad.
Right. That's
go get
true.
a crazy cousin or uncle, and
Right.
they can show it to you. That's
don't
what we're
know.
for,
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is not something that you need to see. But, Trauma is still out there making movies. Class of Nukem High is my second favorite behind this one. Came out a year
They
later, 2 years
they've been the
after.
ones who made that Melvin movie.
It's possible.
They may have. I know there was a movie that he did like 10 years ago that I think was like a mockumentary type thing called Toxic Tutu, and it was about his life on the convention circuit or
Yeah, I
something
saw
like
that
that.
on his
One of those
IMDb too.
one of
It's
those
too.
meta humor type things. But I know it was about 10 years ago where Troma tried to redo Class of Nukem High. So I'm like, all right, like it's kind of a reimagining reboot thing. Let me check this out. And I just can't anymore. It's, I will listen to old school Opie and Anthony. I love like the shock jock comedians of the 90s. I love Andrew Dice Clay, like that type of stuff. I'm still nostalgic for a lot of that stuff. But now it's like you're trying too hard with the body fluid jokes and the gore for the sake of gore. It's like I love plenty of corny movies. We've talked about them. Sometimes I'm cracked on for them. We all make the Garbage Pail Kid reference. That's probably the most famous bad movie that I love. The Toxic Avenger, I love it. I'm here for it. It'll always go down in history as one of my favorites, but you take this stuff to the current day, and I don't know if I've just outgrown it or to Ryan's point earlier, it's just a product of its
Yeah.
time. I can't do the splatter gore anymore. If you come at me with a film like this now, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm good. I'll stick to the original.
Ryan Campbell, your first time watching, your thoughts.
I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy a movie whenever it goes balls to the walls and like knows exactly what it is. I can usually get behind a movie that's willing to just give it all. And this movie does that. I mentioned there's no straight man. Every single person knows the assignment, and they're all just giving as much ham as possible. All of the effects and like the practical gross out stuff looked fantastic on screen. And yeah, we mentioned it, Brandon. It's only like an hour and 27 minutes, so it's a tight watch. So I really enjoyed it. Some funny laugh out loud moments, some time capsule-esque moments, like you said, Toyman, where it's like, well, you couldn't, like the string of racial slurs. You're like, no movie's gonna do that now. So it's very much, again, product of its time, but also really good effects and just all the other stuff too, like the car crashes and explosions, like the non-body humor stuff, works really well. I enjoyed it.
A minuscule budget, they didn't have a lot to work with. This was the movie that made Troma.
Right.
They were pretty much just kind of like a buy and sell distributor at that point.
Yeah, that was the point. I remember as watching the movie, I remember thinking I would almost rather watch a documentary about the making of this movie than even the movie. Like I would just, it's one of those movies where you just know there are some stories behind the scenes and of its conception all the way through the shooting. Like I'm sure there's a really good documentary out there about it. I wouldn't mind watching.
I mean, Lloyd Kaufman is out there and he loves to talk, but I feel like sometimes, unless he's talking about something like Toxie, you have to take him with a grain of salt. I know he's got a grudge against Blockbuster because I believe Blockbuster would only carry the R-rated versions of these films.
Well, I think he
Because
won
he's
that
on a couple of
grudge.
like he he's on a couple like those VHS documentaries and things like that, but he still does the convention circuit, so he's still out there. So you could probably
Yeah.
find quite a bit of info on it on YouTube and the like.
Yeah, this one, not a first time watch for me, but in many ways it felt like it, because again, it has been many decades since I watched. And I got to say, all this talk that you've been saying, Toyman, of USA Up All Night, my God, it reminds me of my idea to have the USA Classics Diginet channel that would have a revitalized Up All Night on Fridays and Saturdays. We could put some silk stockings on. We could put old school prime times on there. We could do a lot. If I don't think anyone would watch it. Well, people would watch it, but I don't think anyone's going to fund this.
There's some learning the ropes with Lyle Alzado. That used to be on USA.
Was it?
There are some really
It
bonkers,
was.
like virtual, like the cable network that they give you, or it's just a bunch of random. There are some batshit channels on there that no one's watching. Surely we can get one of those.
That's what I would love a USA Classics. All right, but yeah, this one I don't know if I ever saw any of the sequels. And as we have mentioned, don't expect that anytime soon. We might come back to Toxie down the road.
One of your favorites appears in the sequels, though.
Who's that?
You could actually find the fight scene on YouTube. Michael Jai White.
Oh, Michael Jai White, who I just covered, one of his more recent films, Hostile Takeover. You could check that out on bulletproofaction.com. And you could do that, and you can let us know what you think about my review or what you thought about this podcast, because you can hit us up on social media at Bulletproof Pod on X and Blue Sky, and at Bulletproof Action on Facebook and Instagram. Also at Bulletproof Action over on the YouTube, our YouTube channel. Ryan Campbell, anything popping off over there? I didn't notice anything blowing up. You never know, though, with the YouTube.
No, nothing really shooting off, but it's staying steady. It's staying good. And again, we mentioned, which is good right now. We talked about this last week. Everyone's freaking out right now about YouTube analytics going down. So if we can just tread water, that's a good sign. So thank you to everybody that headed over there and dropped comments and liked and subscribed. We certainly appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, head on over there.
In addition to Hostile Takeover, as this drops, the new Marco Zaror movie, Affinity, will be available from our friends over at Will Go USA. I had reviewed that earlier in the month, so you could go to bulletproofaction.com and find that review. This past weekend, we celebrated the 40th anniversary of Invasion USA. probably my all-time favorite Chuck Norris movie. I did a piece on that. Toyman, you did a little Shawtember celebration last week.
I did. I found a Shaw Brothers movie that I had not seen, and much like Mean Streets of Kung Fu has led to me becoming the super fan of the man Barry Chan.
God damn.
I'm already a Shaw Brothers fanatic. We've talked about the classics plenty of times, but Shaolin Intruders, the subject of my new No Surrender Cinema, spoiler alert, this was a fantastic film and one that doesn't get a lot of love. And I think it's because it came at the tail end
Right.
of the Shaw dynasty, shall we say. But this one, really enjoyable, some excellent choreography. This is one that I think will start getting dropped ad nauseum the way that the Barry Chan references have. So stay tuned, be prepared.
I don't think I've seen a Shaw Brothers, at least from the martial arts division, that wasn't at least good. And there's plenty that are just freaking classics, and I'm intrigued by the Shaolin Intruders, and Ryan Campbell with a surprise for us all, a little early spooky season content.
That's right,
zombies.
Yeah, I knew it was a thing. I remember reading that they were gonna, in the What If animation style, we're gonna do Marvel Zombie series. I had no idea it was coming out this year, let alone yesterday as we're recording this. So it's really simple. It's 4 episodes. They're all about 32 minutes, so it's a pretty quick watch. It's essentially like the length of a movie, and I was really surprised with it. It was really good. I kind of compare it in my write up to later seasons of the Clone Wars, how they kind of started really kind of finding their style and refining that visual style. And there's some really insane scenes and set pieces within these 4 episodes. So if you're a Marvel fan or even a zombie fan, or even like somewhere in between, take the 2 hours, watch it. It was really good, and go check out my review.
Zach and I watched the first episode yesterday, and we enjoyed it. He's a big fan of the Marvel Zombies comics, so he was excited for this one.
Yeah, they break a lot from kind of that story, but I think it gives them a level of freedom to kind of just do their own thing, and I think it turns out pretty cool. As a Hulk fan, you'll enjoy it, Toyman. I'll say that.
I have gotten some spoiler-free hints like, oh, definitely check this out. I'm like, well, we were going to anyway. We've only seen the first one, but it was cool to see the zombie Captain America again, because a couple of years ago, when Zach was deep in his Marvel Legends collecting, when they came out with the What If line of figures, 2 of his favorite figures at the time was the Zombie Hunter Spidey and the Zombie Captain America. So he was excited to see the Zombie Captain America pop up in the first episode.
So you got some spoiler-free information, Toyman, is what you're saying?
I just heard that, basically you're going to love Marvel Zombies. There's something with the Hulk. Make sure you check it out. I don't know what episode. I don't know when it happens. I know Hulk was not in the first episode.
Yeah, he's in episode 3. I'm going to spoil it for you. The Toxic Avenger eats his brain.
Okay. All right. That's a fine crossover. I'll take it.
But yeah, there you go. So that's what I have to say. But yeah, as this drops, we are wrapping up September. We're moving into October, spooky season, and some new movies, as we mentioned a couple weeks back. So coming up, Ryan Campbell, you'll be back to work again, because there's a brand new Tron movie coming out.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I really loved Tron Legacy. I think it was underrated, and I think in the years since, people have kind of come around on it more. It'll be interesting to see with this one. It's not going to have that Daft Punk soundtrack, which was so defining of that movie. And a lot of people aren't crazy about the Jared Leto being in it, but it looks cool. So who knows? Definitely check out to see if we like it or not, because I don't know. I feel like it could be 50-50. I don't know if it's just I'm getting jaded and older, but trailers aren't hitting me like they used to. Like, I have to admit to you guys, the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer did nothing for me. Absolutely nothing.
That's very sad.
I watched it and felt nothing, and that made me sad. So
I'm sorry. Yeah, I did not see it. I did not hear good things about it, but that's fine. Also, one that I am very looking forward to, and one that I did feel something when I saw the trailer, was Deathstalker. That's coming, I believe the same day as Tron. These movies, listen, next week is Duty Palooza, people. We don't need any new movies that week, but we're getting two. So we'll be doing that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Deathstalker, and then the week later it's Gladiator Underground, which looks very.
You need to check your spam folder, Brain, for the emails that they send you to check all this stuff before
That's
they
true.
release these movies.
And I must be missing it, and they just assume I had no issue with it, so they put it on the calendar. But yeah, Gladiator Underground as well. And who knows what the hell else we'll be doing other than next week. We've already talked about it. Just a reminder: Duty Palooza next week. All Michael Dudikoff all week long. Plus, obviously, some bonus movies since people freaking schedule shit on Duty Palooza week. Really pisses me off when I was doing that schedule. But that's all right. You'll get more. That's just more content for you fine folks who do support.
Free content.
Free. Thank you. Free content as well. So yeah, next week, Duty Palooza. Anything else we want to talk about? Ryan, anything else you have to say?
Nope, think we covered it all. Yep, got Tron coming up, Marvel Zombies. If you didn't check it out, the Alien Earth finale is up on the website, so you can check that out and go check out the YouTube channel.
Toyman, any words of wisdom you want to share with everyone before we go?
I already mentioned what I covered as far as Shaolin Intruders being the subject of the new No Surrender Cinema, so please go and check that out. Keep checking out the podcast on your podcast host of choice, or on the YouTube channel, and stay tuned for October because we've got a couple of we've got another USA Up All Night classic coming as the subject, as well as wrapping up our tradition of the last several years, doing the final part of the Maniac Cop trilogy.
That's right. Maniac Cop has been our Halloween week episode the past 2 years, and we'll do it one more time with Maniac Cop 3, another one I have never seen, so looking forward to that. And again, next week as part of Duty Palooza, we will be talking Virtual Assassin with Matt Pereira, the direct-to-video connoisseur, so check that out. Thank you so much, though, for listening to this episode, and as always, stay tuned for more of the Bulletproof Podcast.